and their products usually are phenomenal and they can do a lot of things. But if you don't truly understand how your data points work with the solution, then you're going to get to the same point that my client did. And that's, hey, we got to go start all the way over again and spend all this money and all this time that we don't have. You don't want to just put a whole bunch of processes in place that end up creating more work for people, don't get anything done, and don't provide any metrics on the backside of it. So now that you've been able to document what your processes are, you have a good idea of where you want to go. Let's highlight a couple of areas that come up often when I'm speaking with clients when we're looking at what are those processes that we really need to dig into and make sure that they're up to speed with future technology. So, a good one is just looking at risk and compliance. How are we identifying those risks operationally and financially that may have an impact on your business? We're going to need to assess what those look like and putting various parameters in place alongside those processes so that you are compliant. So a good example I always say is, how are you looking at, sales tax? Sales tax is a great one because we have so many companies that are e-commerce, and because of the Wayfair Act and all of those changes that have happened over the years, how many times that you're not calculating sales tax correctly, and then you're having to go through these audits. And when you're looking at future technology, it has these new pieces in place that can help automate that. So an example would be, hey, maybe old software is looking at a zip code and it's not calculating the tax properly because you cross the street and you're in the same zip code but a different county. And the software doesn't know how to do that. This futuristic software is able to look at your billing address or the ship to address and is able to calculate the sales tax based on that. And you have this nice feeling that, hey, I know I'm collecting this properly. And when I'm paying my monthly, quarterly, yearly sales tax returns, I'm confident that the data points that I am giving to the government are correct. And you can kind of have that, oh, I can breathe easy if I get called up for an audit because the documentation is all there to prove that it's been calculated correct. So, an example with a client I worked with last year that purchased some inventory software. They had purchased this software because they had heard from other colleagues in their field, hey, this works great, it meets all of your needs. But after further diving into it, they quickly realized this software can't do what I need it to do. It's almost too complex in some areas, and then other areas, it doesn't give the data points and the information reporting that they need. So we had to go back and kind of go back to the drawing board and look at, what do you need to get out of your inventory solution. What are your current processes today around inventory, with cycle counting, with SKU management, with, hey, how do you take care of obsolete SKUs? How do I make them inactive, so maybe if I decide to bring them back into play, I want to reactivate them? And it caused the client to spend a lot of money and a lot of extra time that they didn't have. And I see this happen a lot with SMBs is, the vendor calls you and they do a really good job selling a great product. And their products usually are phenomenal and they can do a lot of things. But if you don't truly understand how your data points work with the solution, then you're going to get to the same point that my client did. And that's, hey, we got to go start all the way over again and spend all this money and all this time that we don't have. And so, really understanding your processes helps save you time and money in the future. Another example we can look at of how having processes in place is great is, I had a client this year and last year, actually the last couple of years, same issue has come up. How many times in your accounting department you're chasing down people that have credit cards and you want to know what their expenses are? They give you a receipt, it's probably all blurred because thermal paper, and you're like, what was this for? I have no idea. And so this client of mine, I was able to get them to put in Expensify, and then holding their sales reps or anybody that's traveling to be able to take pictures of the receipt at that point in time, be able to say, hey, it goes to this client, this is what the expense is for. And now when the accounting team is doing their monthly reconciliations, they can pull those data points in from Expensify right into QuickBooks. Again, if you're using an ERP solution, Expensify works with ERPs and can easily come into that as well with an API plugin. But in this case, this client was using QuickBooks. And we mapped all the data points out to the correct chart of accounts of how we wanted them to be. And they were able to make their process of reconciling credit cards done in a couple of hours versus a couple of days, or even longer sometimes when they got to hunt down those receipts and can't find them. And this way, it was just a great way for them to then utilize their accounting department in other ways and close out their books faster, be able to pay their bills faster, etc. So this is a really good example of how technology can come in, and when it's done right, really save time and you can gain your ROI a lot quicker. So today we opened up with just looking at overall general business processes, and then we funneled down to those that are specific to the accounting department, looking at inventory management that comes in there. How do we manage our accounts payable? What is some of the risk and compliance that has to be put into place? And how when we have these processes in place, that you can make good financial measurements, you're having true KPIs and you can make decisions. You don't want to just put a whole bunch of processes in place that end up creating more work for people, don't get anything done, and don't provide any metrics on the backside of it. I've seen countless companies just document everything and nobody follows it, or they document all of these things and they're trying to make metrics off of it, and it isn't something that can be measured. So that's something to be mindful of when you are creating these processes, that they are adding value to the company. You don't want to do something that doesn't give you an ROI. And for anybody in the accounting department, we're always very money driven, and we want to know, how does this process benefit this department and how does it benefit the business overall? So it's always my recommendation to find someone that can understand your company goals, whether it's me, a colleague. You want to have somebody that understands small and medium sized businesses. You don't need somebody coming in and saying, hey, Amazon does it this way, let's implement the same way. You don't want that. You don't want, as I always say, your neighbor's opinion, because they don't always know what's going on. You want to be able to have a consultant that understands small and medium businesses, that knows that you wear a lot of hats, that you have a limited budget, that you run a lot leaner and need to be able to get those results in a quicker time. You don't want some high powered consultant coming in and says, hey, you know what, we could do this for you for $500 an hour and it's going to take us 8 months. You need somebody that can move along with your goals of achieving, hey, how do we put all these processes together? So you're going to want to find someone that understands accounting, understands technology, and the SMB world, so that you can help plan and build out your 2025 tech strategies. As always, feel free to reach out. I love talking with you. You can email me, Christy@ChristyBarber.com. Feel free to DM me on any of my socials. It's just a great way to get conversation going and to understand what you need, what you're looking for. And as you're looking for consultants and people to help you with process development in your company, it's a way to just build trust, get to know me, I can get to know you, and help understand what you need. And one thing don't forget is having an SMB consultant pays itself dividends later on. You don't want a consultant coming in that just wants to direct you and make you the next Amazon. You don't want somebody coming in and saying, well, large corporations do this, you have to follow these steps. And so having somebody that really understands your world is going to help you get the results that you want. So feel free in the comments below, or even to send me an email, what topics you would like to have covered. I take these and put together content each week that helps you understand what's available for small and medium sized businesses, whether it's manufacturing technology, it's accounting technology, how do we put processes together, how do we evaluate our inventory, etc. So please write below, let me know what you're looking for. And as always, yeah, I'm happy to serve this community and looking forward to teaching you more things next week.